Now we will discuss superclass. An object of one class is an object of another class. For example, a manager is an employee, a programmer is another employee, and a secretary is also an employee. The manager, programmer, and secretary employee classes can be said to inherit properties from employee class. The employee class is then called a superclass, and manager, programmer, and secretary employees are called subclasses of superclass employee. Superclasses are more generalized classes. For example, a student class is generalized form of class, while graduate student and undergraduate student classes are more specialized subclasses. Superclass define instance variables and methods that are available to all subclasses. Now we will discuss subclass. Subclass is the class that inherits properties from its superclass. For example, a car class is a subclass of vehicle superclass. Subclass can override or redefine the methods defined in superclass accordingly. This is helpful when a subclass inherits methods that it does not need to or should not have inherited. For example, the salary calculation method for a manager is different from that of a normal employee, and you have to override the method in manager subclass. Now we will discuss protected members. Subclass can access public and protected members of its superclass inside the same package. The methods in subclass can normally access public and protected members by using the name of method. When a subclass method redefines or overrides a superclass method, the superclass method can be accessed by a super keyword and method name. Inheritance. Inheritance is one of the most important features of object-oriented programming. Inheritance allows you to create reusable software components. You can create new classes from existing classes and incorporate attributes and behaviors of the existing classes. Java uses extends keyword to inherit the properties of a superclass. Superclass is the class that has already been defined, and subclass is the class that inherits the properties of its superclass. In object-oriented programming, classes have is a relationship and has a relationship. Inheritance is distinguished as is a relationship. For example, a sparrow is a bird and an eagle is a bird. These both inherit properties of bird, for example, fly property. In has a relationship, a class object has one or more objects of other classes, and it is called composition. For example, a car has wheels, and we use have objects of string class in our classes. It is important to remember that every object of a subclass is also an object of its superclass, but the converse is not true. Now let us see a simple example of inheritance. Object-oriented programming allows you to create a hierarchy of classes. Here, employee is a superclass and manager, programmer, and accountant are its subclasses. Employee class is created first and has general attributes and methods. Manager class is a subclass of employee in which you can add more functionality and also retain the functionality of its superclass, that is employee. Note the first line in constructor of manager class. It starts with super keyword followed by arguments inside the braces. Every constructor of subclass is responsible for constructing the data fields of its superclass. It is important to note that the call to superclass must be the first line in the constructor of subclass. If you compare the manager class with employee class, you will note that raise salary method has different implementation than raise salary method of employee class. Get name method has no definition in the manager class. This is because it is inherited from superclass employee. The print method is not defined by the manager class and it prints the information using employee superclass. You can redefine print method in manager class to print information of secretary. This program creates an object of employees class and manager class and prints their information. Polymorphism. Polymorphism is another most advanced and important feature of modern object-oriented programming languages. It allows an object to decide at runtime what method to call in the class hierarchy. This program creates 4 reference variables of animal class that are hen, rabbit, monkey and animal. Monkey reference variable points to object of monkey class. Rabbit points to object of and hen points. When we call rabbit.eat method, it decides at runtime to call the method of rabbit class. JVM checks the reference of the object that is assigned to animal reference variable rabbit. This notation denotes that every object of subclass is also an object of its superclass. Dynamic method binding allows an object to decide at runtime what method to call in the class hierarchy. This concept is helpful when you are using inherited classes. For more details, see polymorphism in this unit. Now we will discuss inner classes. A class can contain other classes. These classes are called nested or inner classes. Inner classes are known only inside the class in which they are defined. This program illustrates this. In this program, inner class is defined in outer class. Outer class contains a private instance variable. The method inside inner class can access this instance variable directly. In main method, an object of outer class is created and the method outer private through inner is invoked using outer class object. This method creates an object of inner class and invokes the display method of inner class by using inner object. Although the display method is defined in inner class, it directly accesses the private instance string object S of outer class.